So we've established the basic market structure. Now let's head on to the advanced market structure. For the advanced market structure, what I really want you to take note is now is where we apply liquidity to structure. So for example, in an uptrend, what do we want to see? First, to validate an uptrend, we want to see a sweep of the previous low, and that sweep of the previous low leads to a break of structure. Now this is the model. Pay attention guys, this is the model. So we see a sweep of liquidity or sweep of the previous low, and that sweep of the previous low caused a break of structure of the previous high in the market. Now once we see this, it tells us that we are turning bullish in the chart. Whatever chart you're trading, that means it's giving you bullish signal. So now what do you want to see? For price to create an incomplete pullback. Now that incomplete pullback probably does this again and cause a break of structure. Now what we expect is, you see this low that price created is considered to be liquidity. So what do we expect? When price comes back down, takes out that low, then we look for our entry below that low. I hope you understand. This is the model. Now we are adding liquidity to market structure. Now for this, you need to understand that every pullback that is not 50% of the original impulsive move. Remember, we stated in the basic market structure that the buys in an uptrending market is considered to be the impulsive move, and the sales that is not aligned to the buys, to the buyers, is considered to be a correction move. So now this is we've stated that this here is the impulsive move. So now this pullback that happened here is not up to 50% of the original impulsive move. So we expect this low that price created to be liquidity, and when price come back, we expect price to take it out, and what do? We look for our entries below that low, and the same concept continues again. So now what have we established? We've established that we've taken previous low, and we expect now this low to be protected. Now what do we want to see again in the market? For price to create liquidity, and what do? We expect when price come back, we expect it to take out, and we look for our entry below this low right here. So it's as basic as this. So for an uptrending market, we expect after a sweep of all these lows, now what do we expect? We expect this low now to be protected because it is breaking structure to the upside. So what do we expect now? For price to create structural liquidity, and when it comes back, we expect this low to be taken, and we look for our entry below there, targeting the recent high in the market. So this right here is the advanced market structure. Now for a low to be protected, what do you want to see? For that low to sweep liquidity. So once you see a low sweep liquidity and break structure, you expect the liquidity, the low that took liquidity, to be protected. As you can see, this swept liquidity, so we expect it to be protected. This swept liquidity, so what do? We expect it to be protected. This swept liquidity as well, so what do? We expect it to be protected. And when price come back what do we want to wait for again? For price to create engineered liquidity to validate our level. Then what do? We expect this low now that was created to be taken out. Then we look for our entry below it, targeting the high. So this is the scenario for an option. So now let's use the same ideology for sellers of selling market. So for a downtrending market, what do we want to see? First, we want to see a sweep of the recent high and a break of structure. So now this is our model. What do we want to see first is a sweep that caused the break of structure, a sweep of the previous high that led to a break of structure of the previous low or the recent low. Now what do we then look for now? This is giving us that sellers are in control. Like this is telling us that the market structure is shifting to sellers, whatever the market structure might be in the past history. But seeing this pattern form is telling us that sellers are getting involved. So what do we want to do now? We want to wait for market to go back, create liquidity, structural liquidity, and pull back. And what do we want to do? When price come back, we expect this low to be taken out and for price to take out the low and what? Break structure. Now once price does this, what do we then expect? This high will be our protected high now, because why? It swept liquidity and broke structure. So what do we expect? When the pullback start coming in, wait for price to create what? Engineered liquidity or structural liquidity inducement or whatever it is. Then what do? We simply wait for market to take out that low and we look for our entry above that low. The same circle continue now. We expect this point to be protected. Why? Because it broke structure to the downside. And what do we expect? When price pulls back up like this, we expect it to create liquidity coming back down, and once price goes back, we expect this high to be rigged and we look for our entry below that, causing a break of structure. Now with all this said, let's go to the chart and look for chart example. So for this, we'll be using GBP JPY for our scenario. So this is the 1 hour time frame. So what can we see? Just trading the same concept we talked about. Okay, let's look for a more clear ideology. Trying to look at clean price data. Okay, this is a good example we can work with here. What do we see here? We can see a sweep of this low, right, and a break of structure. Now this low that got rigged out led to this break of structure, and you can see when price came back, this low here is seen to be our engineered liquidity. And what do? Look for our entry. Let me make the chart more cleaner. So what do is we simply look for our entry below this low right here, and you can see if we had our entry below this low like this, stop loss below the protected low, and you can see targeting this high. Did price did that get there? Yes, it did, just trading with this concept. So let's look for more chart examples, and the same thing happened here again. So we've seen an example of the first setup. Now what do we see? We've seen a sweep of this low right here. We've seen a sweep of this low that led to what? A break of structure that led to this break of structure. What can you see? This is expected to be our protected low, and this is what? Our liquidity. So what do we want to do? Take our entry below the liquidity, putting our stop loss below the recent low, and where are we targeting? This high. So with this model, what have we do? We've caught 2 trades hitting TP, trading off the model. And let's go further to see if we can see more setups like that. So this is for the buy scenario, and as we go we'll see many setup as well. Okay, let me just take all these guys out. Okay, let's look for more price data. Okay, now we can see a very simple one here again as well. So we have a sweep of this low, and what do we have? A break of structure. Now as you can see, what do we then expect? This low to be what? Protected. We expect what? This low to be protected, and once this low is protected, what do we want to look for again? Is for price to engineer liquidity. So once we get an engineered liquidity, what do we simply do? Our entry below engineered liquidity, and where are we targeting? The previous high, and stop loss where? Below the protected low that we talked about. Now let's look for more setups. Okay, I think these are some of the setups I take. Let's see if we can get more setups for the buys, and as well for the sales. We can still see setup for the sales as well. So let's look for the sell setup as well. Let's search and see if we can get sell setup, not just using buy as an example. Let's keep going. Okay, and also let's still look for more price data, so we can let's still look for more price data. Okay, let's see if we can get something here. Okay, for the sales, I'm seeing let's go closer so that you understand and look at what I'm saying. So for the sales setup, you have a sweep of this high, and what do we have? Break of structure. Now what can we see again? We can see what? Liquidity right here. So what do we expect? For this low that sweeps, for this high that sweeps liquidity to be what? Protected. So we expect this high to be protected. And where is our entry? Above this high right here. So if our entry was here, stop loss was just above liquidity. Did price get to where we anticipated it to reach? Let's see. As you can see, it did there. So this is just the simple model, and there are countless opportunities that we can all as well talk about. So let's see if we can find more opportunities on this. This can work as well. So what do we have here for an uptrend? We also have what? A sweep of this. We also have a sweep of this low right here, and what do we have again? A break of structure. Right, we have a break of structure, and what do we have? We have liquidity right here. So where is our entry? Now we expect what? This low to be protected. Why? Because it swept liquidity, and if our entry was just below this point, as you can see, let's say we enter the market somewhere around here, targeting this high, stop loss below, and as you can see, we had price push up very close to our expected point, and if we closed right here, you can see at the end we did what? We made profit. It doesn't just end using advanced market structure. All these things, we will add them together. These are just parts we are bringing together to make decision in the market. So I hope you understood all we talk about for the model we trade, what we want to see. Let me repeat one more time before shutting the video. So the model we want to see for an uptrend, we want to see a low, and for price to take out that low, break structure, create engineered liquidity, and move. Probably something like this, and this is like the type 1, pull back down and go breaking structure to the upside. So what does this tell us? A sweep of liquidity, a break of structure. Now we have structural liquidity, our entry will be below structural liquidity, which is this low, and it continues again. Once price breaks this structure, we want to see this point that got swept. This low now becomes the protected low. So what do we want to see? For price to create liquidity, either breaking structure, then when it comes down, it takes it out, and we look for our entry below this point. And you can see there's a difference between this entry and this entry, which is this before it broke structure. What did it do? Created an engineered liquidity, took it before going up. And this, what did we see? This just created the low, went up, broke structure, and when it came down, what do? We look for our entry below this low. So for the downtrend, the market is just vice versa. And I hope you found value from this video. Like, share, subscribe, and let's get to the key concept of forming our strategy. Peace out, guys.